The NFL is back, ladies and gentlemen, and we just concluded week 1 of the 2025 regular season. And what a week it was. We possibly saw the game of the year, one of the best games of all time, people are saying. We're going to break it all down here on VinConn Sports Talk, episode number 55. My name is Vinny, as always, joined by my partner, Connor Swanson. And before we get started, be sure to give us a follow on everything. Like we always say, we have Instagram and TikTok, and then if you're on YouTube or Spotify, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you enjoy the content. Connor, week 1 is in the books, and we had a lot of interesting stuff that we're going to break down for you today. So how are you feeling? Describe week 1 in a few words before we get started.
I mean, before anything else, obviously the Packers won, so it was a successful week for me. Okay, that's first and foremost. But rest of the week, in a few words, it was underwhelming, yet exciting, right? We mentioned, obviously 16 games happened. The very good ones were very good. We'll get to it in a little bit, but then the rest of the games just seemed to be a little disappointing, not as high scoring as we would have expected, as we were hoping for. So kind of just like an underwhelming week, Vinny.
Yeah, I agree with you, but it is our job to break it all down for you and talk about it. So if you guys are new around here, if this is your first season with us, welcome in. We're glad you're with us. If you don't know how we do things here, we go game by game, breaking down the stats, giving our analysis very quickly. We have a lot of games to get to today, obviously the full slate, 16 games. But this year we're going to be doing a little bit different, and we're going to be going a little bit out of order. We're going to be talking about just the biggest storylines, the best games first, to get those out of the way. So, Connor, are you ready to go?
Let's get right into it, man.
Let's get right into it. And without a doubt, the game of the week, the Jags and the Panthers, man. Let's get right into it. No, I'm just kidding. The Ravens and the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football. This was circled on my calendar, on my schedule, when the schedule came out, being obviously one of the best matchups you can get in the AFC and the NFL. So it's a great job by the schedule makers to put it in primetime, and man, it delivered. The Bills win at 41-40 on a game-winning field goal by Matt Prater, who is so old and has been around so long.
Yeah. He just joined the team like 2 weeks ago.
Team and was the hero in the end. The Bills were down 25-40 with under 5 minutes to go in the game, maybe even 4 minutes. And it was, the Bills didn't play a bad football game up to this point. The Ravens were dominant. The Ravens were absolutely dominant, doing what they do best, running the football. Lamar Jackson, 70 yards and a rushing touchdown on the ground. Only threw the ball 19 times, but this is what the Ravens like to do. Derrick Henry, is this guy ever going to slow down?
I thought he was, but clearly not, because this is, even against a very good defense in the Bills, they could not stop him.
No signs of stopping. 169 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. That's only at 18 attempts, so extremely efficient. He broke loose a couple times.
Yeah, I was going to say, most of those yards probably came on those 2 attempts then, which is kind of crazy. Because he had those 2 long rushes, but still.
So, unbelievable performance from Derrick Henry. But with all that being said, it was a Derrick Henry mistake that probably cost the Ravens the football game. A fumble down the stretch. The Bills were able to capitalize on it, storm down the field, and the Ravens, as good as they are running the football, they're the best running team in the NFL. They could not get it done when they needed to ice the game and run the football to keep the clock moving and not give the Bills a chance. The Bills took advantage of this opportunity. Josh Allen, 394 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, 30 yards on the ground, 33 for 46. Just an incredible performance. Keon Coleman, his wide receiver, who was supposed to be really good last year as a rookie. He wasn't too good last year, but he comes out 8 receptions, 112 yards and a touchdown. Just an insane performance from the Bills, especially in the fourth quarter, in the last 5 minutes. This game was absolute cinema. It was absolute cinema. And, if you're a Ravens fan, it's a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
But you thought this was going to be an absolute statement win. If the Ravens held on and won 40-25, that's a statement win.
And the thing is, Vinny, you have to still be proud of how the Ravens played in this game, because like you said, if it wasn't for a Derrick Henry fumble, which we can't expect to happen very often, they win this game without a doubt, right? So it sucks that you get the loss, but for Ravens fans, I'm almost marking this down as like a little victory still, because you honestly should have won this game. And yes, a mistake happened, but it's Derrick Henry, it's your best player. That's not going to happen ever again. So
no, it shouldn't, but I mean, if you are the Ravens, yeah, you feel good because you played well for 3.5 quarters, but you couldn't get the job done. And the Ravens are one of those teams that are pretty known for choking games and choking leads and doing all that. So really, I mean, crazy circumstances here in Buffalo. It was so entertaining to watch, though. And the Bills in their final season at the old Highmark Stadium, I know the fans love that place. They go crazy. It was a great atmosphere. And for all you Bills fans that left, I know one of them. I know if you're listening, you know who you are. I apologize for you, but hopefully you still got to celebrate in the streets of Buffalo with all of those crazy fans. So what a way to kick off the Sunday Night Football schedule.
Yeah.
What an incredible game. Do you think this game is going to be topped this year by any other game?
You can't predict it, right? Like, we can't, after that game, you can't go out and say, like, I'm very confident there's going to be a game better. I mean, obviously there's a chance that there is, right? But I mean even me, I was getting ready for bed, and you texted me and you're like, this game's crazy now. I check, I'm like, oh my god. So I came back down, but this game was absolutely wild. The comeback is crazy. The Derrick Henry fumble, like, everything about it. Bills, Ravens, two of the best teams in the AFC. Like, you couldn't have written a better Week 1 Sunday Night Football game.
No, you couldn't. But I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned about the Ravens.
No,
We're not going to be whipping out the concern meter for the Ravens, but we are going to be whipping it out for other teams. And one of those teams are the one we're going to talk about next, the Detroit Lions taking on your Green Bay Packers. So why don't you tell us what went on in this game? I'm sure you're excited.
Man, I was fired up watching this game. And before we went into the game, I was like, okay, like, I'm feeling pretty good. We're going to get a win. I did not expect the Packers to be as dominant as they were in this game. Of course, if you didn't see, Packers won this one 27-13 against the Lions, a team that's kind of had our number the last couple of times we've played. So definitely good to get on the right side of this one here to start off the season. Jordan Love, 16 of 22, 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. Those touchdowns came in the first half. Really, offensively, not much was going on in the second half. It was kind of just kill the clock and play good defense. Josh Jacobs, 19 carries, 66 yards, and a touchdown. He was kind of the opposite. First half, he basically did nothing. The Lions were very good against the run. And then second half is when he was able to open things up and really get his yardage and his touchdown. As for the receivers, Romeo Doubs led the team in yards with 68 yards on 2 catches. Jaden Reed and Tucker Kraft both had touchdowns. And then there were, I think, a total of 7 Green Bay pass catchers that caught a pass, and only one player had more than 2, and that was Jaden Reed with 3. So Packers are going to be spreading the ball around a lot, which kind of you could have expected it when you look at this receiving core. Not really a standout guy, so definitely a team that's going to spread it around. Everyone's going to get involved, but that's one of their strengths. For the Lions, Jared Goff, not even a bad day when you talk about completion percentage. Okay, he was 31 of 39. But only for 225 yards. He had 31 completions for 225 yards, which, I mean, that's just not. There was no throws down the field for this Lions football team, I mean, and it was because of the Packers' pressure. We'll get to that in a second. But Jared Goff also threw 1 touchdown to Isaac Tesla, the rookie, late in the game, one of the
really
early contenders for catch of the year.
Yeah, really good catch.
And then Jared Goff also did throw an interception. The running backs, they combined for 20 total carries for just 44 yards. Okay, this two-headed monster in the backfield for Detroit that has been so lethal in the past couple of years held to 44 yards on 20 combined carries, which is a terrible start to the season for them. Props to the Packers defense again. Sam Laporta, he did his thing, 6 catches for 79 yards, and Amon-Ra St. Brown got involved, of course, but only 4 catches for 45 yards. And when you mentioned the Jared Goff completion percentage, you got to look to Jahmyr Gibbs and all the checkdowns he got, because Jahmyr Gibbs had 10 catches for a underwhelming 31 yards. 10 catches for 31 yards. I think I saw a stat. I forget the exact how it was worded, but it was like the least amount of yards on a player with 10-plus catches in a game in NFL history.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, the Packers were just absolutely flying around. Packers had 4 sacks. Micah Parsons got one, of course, later on in the game. Crowd went crazy. Green Bay just really, they had control from the start and did not look back. It honestly seemed like the Lions just kind of, they obviously didn't quit, but they had just had nothing. They had no fight in them in that second half, and it's crazy because that's a Dan Campbell-led Lions team that just got humiliated like that on the opening week of the season. Yeah,
it was very underwhelming. I thought this was going to be one of the best games of the week, and obviously from a Packers fan perspective, like you, it was one of the best games of the week. But the Lions, they did show no fight. They showed no fight. The offense was very uninspiring. Maybe that has something to do with Ben Johnson not being there anymore. Maybe it has to do with the Packers defense. I think it's more the Packers defense. this is how the Packers are going to win games this year. If the Packers are going to be that Super Bowl contender, it's going to be because of the defense. And if they could slow down the Lions with all those playmakers on their team, I think the Packers are going to be just fine in 2025. And I mean, I am going to come out and say it. I think they're going to win the division. I think as of right now, it's only been week 1. But if they destroyed the Lions so much, I don't think any other team in that division is going to stand a chance.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll see there. But I mean, Micah Parsons getting that first sack, pointing his hand up to the crowd, it was pretty electric. It was a great moment, and it was all Packers. It was all Pack. So great stuff there. I'm sure you're happy. I'll give you your flowers this one time.
No, I'm very happy. And why don't we transition here, Vinny? After so we both picked the correct teams in both of these games.
Great weeks, by the way. So Connor, I'd like to. So for you guys who are in our pick'em. Connor over here went 14-2, which is one of the best weeks either of us have ever had.
Yep.
Especially for week 1. I went 12-4, still pretty good. So a good week here for the squad for week 1. So let's move on to another fantastic game. For some reason, somehow, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Jets, definitely the most entertaining game of either window, 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock, in my opinion.
Yep.
Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, you know the story, going back to MetLife right away, week 1, facing his former team. And then Justin Fields, the starter for the Jets, also facing his former team. So this was a double quarterback revenge game. I mean, who doesn't love that? And we were expecting some bad offense in this one. It wasn't great weather. It was raining. It wasn't, you just had no expectations for either side. And it ended up being an absolute shootout that the Steelers would win 34-32. Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns in this one, looking like
he still got it, man. I've been saying it.
He was in his prime.
I've been saying it.
I mean, I don't have statistics off the top of my head from his time with the Jets, but this was probably his best game since his Packers days, I think.
I
don't think he had a game last year that was this good.
No.
Didn't turn the ball over, just extremely efficient. And the thing that is really good is he's getting his number 1 wide receiver involved. That being DK Metcalf. 4 receptions. Calvin Austin, also 4 receptions. Just, spreading the ball around really well. And on the ground game wasn't even great for Pittsburgh. It was all passing, and their defense was a little bit underwhelming because Justin Fields, for the Jets side, also had a really good day. 16 for 22, 218 yards and a touchdown, and then 48 yards on the ground, 2 rushing touchdowns. He also got his number 1 receiver involved, that being Garrett Wilson, who had 95 yards and a touchdown. Really nice touchdown, by the way. Probably one of the best throws and catches of week 1.
Yep.
Garrett Wilson just getting wide open in the end zone. A great throw from Justin Fields. And then how about the running back situation for the Jets as well? Breece Hall with a great day. 107 yards on the ground. Didn't get in the end zone, but there were inklings that Braylon Allen would be getting a lot of work, which he did. He was still pretty involved, but Breece Hall was definitely the guy.
Yep.
And overall, just in a game that we were expecting a lot of mistakes on the offensive side of the ball, there really were none. Both offenses were firing on all cylinders. And even if you are the New York Jets after a tough loss like this, I think you have to feel really good about how things went for you against one of the most complete defenses in the NFL, if not the most complete defense in the NFL, Justin Fields going out and playing that well. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that. But
I mean, I'll ask you this first. Do you think both of these teams can maintain this level of offense throughout the season?
No.
Okay. So kind of weird how that works, right? Because we get it against 2 of the better defenses in the league.
Yeah.
And yet we don't expect it going forward. I'm with you. I don't expect it either, which is like a very kind of like surprising thing, right? When you do it against a top tier defense and then we come out and say, I don't think it's going to happen against these weaker opponents. It almost seems like counterintuitive, a little weird, but I mean, I feel like these numbers are almost a fluke. Like you had one good week, and I just don't know if you can maintain this.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be that way, but I'll say I feel better about the prospects of each of these teams after week 1 because I wasn't high on the Steelers, and I definitely wasn't high on the Jets for both of the same reason, the offense.
Yep.
And they both went out and played really well, as we mentioned. So I don't know. I think, is it going to be maintainable? Are they going to be putting up 30 points a week? I don't think so. But I mean, especially for the Steelers here. We've been talking too much about the Jets. For the Steelers, the Aaron Rodgers experiment, it could work. It's going to be his last year, most likely. He's probably playing with a lot of conviction and a lot of motivation to succeed. in his last year, and I think he looked like he was having fun, which
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Rodgers
That's
hasn't
the
looked
best
like
part.
that. Yeah, he was having a good time. So
I'll say one last thing here. We mentioned how the defenses were very underwhelming in this game, but at the end of the game, when it mattered most, Jalen Ramsey, newly acquired by the Pittsburgh Steelers, he comes out, he makes a pass breakup on second down, and then on fourth down, that massive hit on Garrett Wilson to really seal the game for the Steelers. So maybe they struggled throughout the game, but when it mattered most, the Steelers defense showed up and did what they always do, make plays and win that team a football game. So, good start for the Steelers. I've had a crazy take. I don't know if I said it on air yet, but I said they have a very good chance of starting the season like undefeated through 6 weeks. So don't be surprised if that happens. Obviously, this was a very close game, but I think they'll be a little bit better going forward.
Yeah, we both picked Pittsburgh, so we're both perfect so far. And those are the 3 big games, the 3 best games probably of week 1.
Yep.
But let's get to the rest of the games here. Starting back, you have to go back to Friday night, the Friday night football thing on YouTube in Brazil. It's just weird. Second year in a row. But it did involve the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Chargers, an AFC West battle in week 1 that the Chiefs have dominated. The Chiefs have won every game against the Chargers since 2021, but that would end here in Brazil as the Chargers would take this one 27-21, and it's mostly due to Justin Herbert playing out of his mind.
Yep.
25 for 34, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, and Quentin Johnston learned how to catch football, so good for him. He had 5 receptions, 79 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and then Lad McConkey was very involved as well with 74 yards on 6 catches.
And even Keenan Allen, he had 6 for 79 and a touchdown as well. So
touchdown.
all 3 of them, getting involved, which was great to see for this offense.
Yeah, 3-headed monster in LA maybe. That'd be kind of crazy to see. Watch out. In terms of the running back situation, Omari and Hampton, it was kind of what's going to happen with that backfield with him and Najee Harris. He dominated the snap count. And he might have not had the best game, but Najee Harris barely touched the football in this one. So from a fantasy perspective, I think Marion Hampton's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
On the Chiefs side of things, Patrick Mahomes, not a bad game by any means. He had 258 yards and a touchdown. He also led the team in rushing with 57 yards. The Chiefs running backs just could not do anything. It was a terrible game. Really, really bad. But the Chiefs offense was extremely dysfunctional. They were scrambling all night long. That's partially due to Xavier Worthy, their number 1 wide receiver, getting injured on the very first drive. He actually collided with his own teammate, Travis Kelce, and just went down, and you knew it was bad right when it happened. It was a rough scene there.
It's a dislocated shoulder for him, and he's only day-to-day right now, so he's not going to be. He's not missing long term. They said it's possible he can suit up week 2 and play in a brace. Obviously, that limits his reach. The catching radius that you need as a wide receiver. It limits all of that, and obviously he'd still be playing through pain. I'd imagine if the Chiefs wanted to be safe here, they probably wait till week 3 to put him back on the football field. Even still, he might be wearing a brace for that, but they're without receivers now, so they might have to suit him up early.
Though, you have the game of the year next week. Just to look ahead, they're playing Super Bowl rematch against Philly.
Yeah. So they might say, and he might want to play in that game too. Worthy might be like, I need to be out there. So
it's going to be interesting to see. The Chiefs, they definitely don't want to be 0-2. I can bet you that because, they're just not used to this. Like
they're not used to being 0-2.
They're just not used to this, and
they're not used to being 0-1.
They're not used to being 0-1. But yeah, they just had nothing going. Hollywood Brown had 16 targets in this game. Ended up with 10 receptions and 99 yards, so he did evolve as the number 1 wide receiver. I mean, he's very capable. He's been a number 1 receiver in offenses plenty times before. But just interesting scenario there for Kansas City. They just looked bad all night. This was a really slow start to this game. Really not a lot happening. It did pick up in the second half. It ended up, Justin Herbert, again, like I said, carried the Chargers to a victory here. The offense just looked great the whole night. As for the Chiefs, how concerned are you? The offense, the running backs didn't do anything. They're short on receivers. Travis Kelce, he did catch a touchdown, but other than that, didn't do much. How concerned are you about the Chiefs?
I'll be honest here. I'm not as concerned about the offense as I am about the defense. And shout out to the Chargers again, right? A very, very good offense. Justin Herbert and possibly a 3-headed monster there, right? But the Chiefs defense, I was really expecting more. Last year, we saw them really hold teams, like a team like the Chargers, to really nothing at all. And sure, you give up a touchdown here when you're facing a good offense, but I mean, they kind of were just dominated all night long, and they couldn't get a stop when they needed to, couldn't get off the field. And that's kind of not what we were expecting from the Chiefs going in. Obviously, when you get a big injury on offense, sure, maybe there's some, morale is like, oh my gosh, like we just lost a huge piece of our team. Like, what are we going to do now? Like, and it's kind of like a panic mode for a little bit, but I mean, that shouldn't have lasted the whole game. This team just did not look the part, what we're used to from this Chiefs team. With that said, though, it's still the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is still in that offense. Xavier Worthy's going to be back soon. Rashee Rice is going to be back at some point, like after 6 weeks. So, like, this team it's a very long season. We talk about it being only 18 or 17 weeks, 17 games. But, at the end of the day, that's a very long time for things to change. And we mention all the time, week 1 is when teams are going to look the worst, right? And then that step from week 1 to week 2 is when you're going to see the most improvement throughout the entire season. So, I'm not too worried. If I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not concerned, 10 being really concerned, I'd probably give them like a 2. It's the Chiefs at the end of the day, and maybe they'll be bad this year. But right now, after 1 week, I'm not going to panic too much on them.
Yeah. Just quickly before we move on, I'm not panicking on them either, but I feel like they should be a little concerned seeing how good the Bills and the Ravens played on Sunday night, because that's their main competition in the AFC. Yeah. I don't think there's anyone else that's going to reach that level as those three teams. And the Chiefs, they've steamrolled both of those teams in the playoffs every single year. But maybe seeing them, they should be a little bit concerned, maybe have a little more urgency, especially with a big game against the Eagles next week. They could easily be 0-2, so that would not be good for them. But that is going to wrap up that one. Take us to the NFC South, Connor, for a very highly anticipated matchup.
Yeah, a huge game between, the two main competitors in that NFC South division, right? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. And the Bucs get the win in this one, 23-20. We both picked the Bucs to win this game, but it wasn't as easy as you would have thought, right? So it was a late drive by the Falcons, set up a 44-yard game-tying field goal attempt by Younghoe Koo, and Koo just missed it. So this game very likely should have gone to overtime, right? Because Koo's been a fantastic kicker in the league, and he just missed this one. And, it happens to the best of the kickers out there, but really sucks for the Falcons. I mean, they went down the field, they got him into field goal range, a 44-yard attempt. When you're on the clock like that with the offense trying to move down quickly, that's very good. Normally you're thinking, okay, maybe we're going to try and get you to a 55-yarder and just give you a chance. But they got to 44 yards, which at that point, Michael Penix, they're all thinking, okay, we're going overtime. Let's start preparing, right? And they missed it, and that sucks. So it really does hurt the Falcons, and they were leading this game a lot. The Bucs had nothing in that first half, Vinny. I know early on, Baker just couldn't seem to get anything going. The ground game was not there. Bucky Irving finishing with just 37 rushing yards, which is not what you want. He did pick up a receiving touchdown, so fantasy managers, you appreciated that. But when you're talking about a pure, game perspective here, it was not the best performance by this Buccaneers offense, which we know to be very, high scoring, explosive, and they just didn't have it. Of course, Emeka Egbuka, the rookie wide receiver, he was kind of the standout guy in this game. He had 4 catches for 67 yards and 2 touchdowns, most notably the game-winning touchdown there late in the fourth quarter, a huge pass right over the middle from Baker Mayfield, drops it in the bucket, and Egbuka gets the touchdown there. Mike Evans, he had 5 catches for 50 yards, but really no big plays from him, which, kind of not expecting that as well. But they got the win at the end of the day, which is what matters. For the Falcons, Penix was 27-42 with 298 yards and a touchdown. So a pretty good day for him, trying to continue upon a strong finish to the 2024 season. Bijan Robinson, only 24 rushing yards. So both star running backs in this game, very underwhelming days on the ground. The thing for Bijan was he had 6 catches for 100 receiving yards and a touchdown, right? Got off to a hot start with that 51-yard receiving touchdown where he made like 3 guys miss and just took off. So definitely a good day there for him. But of course, when you can't run the ball, it makes these games very predictable, which might be, part of the reason why some of these quarterbacks struggled early on in the game. Some of the receivers couldn't get open because it was they're going to have to pass the ball because they can't run it. So maybe that had some factor there. Drake London, the star receiver for the Falcons, he had 8 catches for 55 yards, picked up a shoulder strain, so he was actually out on the final drive there. So, clearly didn't impact them too much. They still got down into field goal range, but that's something to monitor, as if he cannot play next week, that's Drake London and Darnell Mooney out for this team, which that's their 2 top targets. But maybe a guy who's trying to make things happen here, Kyle Pitts. Okay, a terrible start to his career, but here in 2025, he goes out in week 1 and gets 7 catches for 59 yards. One of the better games he's had in his career, honestly. But obviously, he's had some better games than this. But this is definitely, a very good start to the season for him. Something a lot of people were hoping for. He had a lot of potential coming out of college. He has the height, he has the size, has the speed. We just never really saw it translate to the NFL, right? So very good start for him. But yeah, Vinny, overall, this game was very good. Obviously, this is kind of like the best of the rest, right? This was one of those close games that you were really into it the entire time. There were close plays going on the entire game. And it just came down to a missed field goal. And you hate to see it end like that, but at the end of the day, that could cost the Falcons, the division, right?
Even if it's week 1. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. You only get to play this team twice in the year. And you lose a game like this because of a missed field goal. That could have some big repercussions later on.
Yeah, and the Falcons actually beat the Bucs both times last year, still couldn't win the division. So, losing to this team is not good for them. Yeah. I still think they are going to be in it. They're going to have a chance. Michael Penix did look good. What can we say about him? He's shown nothing but promise in the 4 games he's started in the NFL so far. And, we told you all to pick up Kyle Pitts, man, in the late rounds. That guy's going to be a stud this year, dude. I'm telling you right now. But, yeah, I don't have much to take away from this one. Buccaneers, it wasn't really a conventional game for them. They didn't look as good on offense as they usually do, especially, Baker, really slow start. You're used to seeing those high 200s yard games for him. Yep. But he still got the job done, didn't turn the ball over, had 3 touchdowns. Emeka Egbuka, if he's that good, this is going to be a real problem because they have so many good wide receivers on that team. So good for the Bucs, good win. It's really going to go a long way, I think, to deciding this division, who wins the 2 games between these 2 teams. So, that's pretty much all I have to say about this one, Connor. If you have any more thoughts.
We both take the Bucs in that game, and
we do. Yeah, we picked the same games except 2. And I got the 2 wrong that we had different picks. So that was the difference this week, by the way. We'll get to that. But moving on, we can run over this one really quick. The Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns going at it in Cleveland. The Bengals win it 17-16. The week 1 Bengals back at it again. Even though they won, they looked just horrible. Yep. Just awful. Joe Burrow, 113 yards passing. Talk about just out of character for a guy like Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase only had 2 catches. Chase Brown, so inefficient. 43 yards on 21 attempts. He did have a touchdown. They just couldn't get anything going. The Cleveland Browns pass rush was making Joe Burrow so uncomfortable. We talked about Myles Garrett, how his status was up in the air. He was in the game making plays, just doing his thing. The Browns offense was way better in this game. Joe Flacco goes out there, throws for 290 yards and a touchdown. Dylan Sampson, the running back questions here in Cleveland, he was the guy in this game. 12 attempts. He only had 29 yards on 12 attempts, but he did dominate the snap count. Jerome Ford, the guy who's been there, who I told you all to start. I hope you didn't listen to me this week. He only had 8 yards on 6 attempts, so really bad. Connor, what do you know about a guy by the name of Harold Fannin Jr.?
Rookie tight end, I think. Yeah, to Bowling Green, I think it is. Yeah, so I just didn't expect that.
Yeah, 7 receptions on 63 yards there. It's just a weird game. It came down to the turnovers in the end. Joe Flacco turned the ball over twice. Bengals defense, they didn't have a great game, but they made plays when it mattered and were able to get the win here. And listen, I came out there and said, don't be surprised if the Browns are in this game or if they even win this game. And that exactly happened here. They were right in this game, and none of these teams played good football. But, the Bengals were able to get it done. And this would have been alarm bells going off in Cincinnati if they lost this game week 1. But
100%.
It was obvious, man. It was obvious that this was going to happen because the week 1 Bengals are something else, dude.
And I was optimistic it wasn't going to happen. I was saying, they played their starters in the preseason for the first time, so they're going to avoid the slow start. And boy, was I wrong. They had. How many yards was it in the second half, Vinny? Do you know off the top of your head? It was a record digits. Low. They had single-digit yards in the second half, the least amount of yards ever for a team that won. What are we doing? I understand the Browns' defense is good, but I'd imagine the Bengals are going to face some better teams than this.
Way better. Well, yeah. So, they played the Browns.
That's what I'm saying. So
almost every team's going to be better.
This I would be more concerned about the Bengals than I would the Chiefs so far.
Oh yeah, oh without a doubt.
Yeah. So
I'm extremely concerned, but you know what? This has happened so many times, and they always turn around, but it's usually too little, too late by then. Like last year when they started to play good, it was over. They couldn't catch up. So they do get a win here. So they're it all counts. All wins count the same at the end of the day. But I mean, if Cincinnati's going to be playing like this, they're in trouble. I don't know how offense this good is so bad against Cleveland, but
I think they'll figure it out. But yeah, not a
they'll
good
figure it out. It was a tough watch though, but we did both take the Bengals. We narrowly escaped with a victory there, and we move on to another game that was also extremely difficult to watch.
Yep.
That being the Miami Dolphins and the Indianapolis Colts. We both took the Dolphins to win this game, but it just was not even close, to be honest. The Colts won 33-8. Daniel Jones, who won the job in training camp from Anthony Richardson, I guess the Colts saw something, man, in Daniel Jones, and they really knew what they were doing, because he goes out there 22 for 29, 272 yards, throws a touchdown, did not turn the ball over, and he led the Colts offense to score on every single possession of the game. There were no punts, there were no kneeling, there was no turnovers. Every time the Colts got the football in this game, they scored. And Daniel Jones is, don't quote me on this, but I heard a stat, the only quarterback to do that in the 21st century. No Brady, no Rodgers, no Breeze.
Oh my gosh.
Daniel Jones. Okay.
I guess he's the greatest quarterback of all time.
I guess that's basically what that means, right? He got help from Jonathan Taylor, 71. Even Jonathan Taylor didn't have an amazing day. I mean, he was 18 for 71. It's a good day, but it's not like he did anything crazy. I mean, Michael Pittman, who has just been in jail, it seems like, in this Colts offense with the quarterback play there. He has 6 receptions for 80 yards and a touchdown. But, okay, first of all, good for the Colts. They played great. Daniel Jones, good for you. Like, you shocked the world. This is great. We'll see if they can continue. The storyline of this game is the Dolphins and how bad they were.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Tua, he looked lost. He looked like he was on another planet, Connor. 114 yards, a touchdown in garbage time, and 2 picks. 2 awful interceptions. Okay, really bad. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they both caught the ball 4 times for not a lot. Tyreek had 40 yards. Waddle had 30 yards. Just the explosiveness of this offense, the versatility of this offense has just gone out the window.
Yeah, I don't understand how that happens. Like,
I don't.
The talent is all still there.
Yeah.
Right? And Tua might be, a little worse off in the head than he has been in years past, but he's still playing. They still trust him. They still see him in practice.
Right.
He was his second pick. I mean, he just threw it right at the defender. I don't know what he saw. It was just right at the defender. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I also don't know how this is able to happen. He obviously, after the injury last year, it was just all out the window. Like the offense just took a nosedive, and we thought that maybe a whole offseason to get better and just to rest up and they'd be back, because they were healthy. Achane was there, Tyreek Hill was there, like all these guys were playing, and it was just they just had nothing. I don't understand. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, good for the Colts. They took care of business. They took advantage of just an atrocious offense. The Dolphins, I don't know where they go from here. I mean, how concerned are you about them?
I mean, I'm very concerned, right? If they look like this on offense, their defense isn't good enough to keep them in games. So, I mean, you just saw that. They just gave up 33 points to the Daniel Jones-led Colts. So, the Dolphins they need to figure it out on offense real quick. And honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a trade to get Tyreek Hill out of there and the Dolphins just try to get some picks, try to rebuild.
He's very unhappy.
He's very unhappy, and if they're not going to play good, I mean, there's no point in keeping an asset like that if you know you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Trade him, not even just because he's mad, but because you can get good value back for him, and try to start rebuilding something in Miami, because what we have right now in Miami is not going to work. And I will say one last thing. Shout out Tyler Warren, the rookie tight end out of Penn State, had 7 catches for 76 yards in this game. We know Daniel Jones loves his tight ends, but this was definitely, we expected him to be good, but I mean, he was really, his second read behind Michael Pittman, and he also got a carry in this game. Tyler Warren had a rush for 3 yards, so he's getting involved, similar to how we saw Brock Bowers used a little bit last year. So that's great to see from him, and hopefully he has a great year.
Mm-hmm. Does Mike McDaniel last the season?
If they start the season with less than 2 wins through, let's say, I don't know, 7 weeks. If they're like 1-6 through 7 weeks, then he's out. But like if they're like 3-4, I think he'll stick around a little longer. Maybe he's done after this year, no matter what, because I don't think they're going to be very good. But depending on their record, I think he might have a chance to at least finish the year.
I think he's the first head coach gone in the NFL this year. That's just my opinion. I don't think he's going to last because this is a team that they've ran out the same formula for so long and it hasn't gone anywhere. So they need a change. But that's just my opinion. We'll move on to a game. We're going to go through this one quick too. Really boring. The Panthers and Jags.
Such high hopes for this one.
High hopes for this game, man, and it just had nothing going for it. The Jaguars win 26-10. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, pretty standard day for him. 19 for 31, 178 yards, a touchdown and a pick. On the other end, Bryce Young, bad day. 18 for 35 threw 2 interceptions, only threw for 154 yards. Main storyline for Jacksonville, I think, was the running back situation. Had a lot of question marks, but Travis Etienne, he took it personally. All these other guys coming in, he wants this backfield to himself. He had 143 yards on 16 attempts. Tank Bigsby, who's not even on the team anymore, he got traded to the Eagles last night. And Brashel Tutin, the rookie, they only had 5 and 3 carries respectively, so it wasn't even close in terms of that. Yep. For the Panthers side of things, another kind of running back discussion, Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle, who just came in. Chuba Hubbard did dominate the snap count there too. He had 16 attempts, and Rico Dowdle only had 3. So kind of interesting to note there. Another thing, Travis Hunter, the rookie, the two-way sensation for the Jags, he was in the game on both sides. He made an impact on both sides. He had 6 receptions as a wide receiver, and he was also playing cornerback as well. So kind of interesting to see there. He only had 33 yards, but he was targeted a lot. He led the team in targets, actually. So, yeah, I mean, Jaguars, they will go out. They dominate this one. The Panthers, we thought they were going to come in looking better after finishing the season well last year, but they laid an egg in this one. They kind of looked like the Bryce Young and the Panthers of early last year.
And
so
that's concerning because you're playing a very bad pass defense in Jacksonville. And putting up only 154 yards passing for Bryce Young, not going to cut it. He threw 2 picks. Like Tedero McMillan, I mean, he had 5 catches for 68 yards, but a lot of that came towards the end when this game was well out of hand. And, I mean, for the Jaguars, just got to mention Brian Thomas Jr. Obviously, he had 1 catch in this game. He had a rushing touchdown, but he had 1 catch on 7 targets, so not what you want to see from him. I know a lot of fantasy managers definitely upset about that, but you got saved by the touchdown, so we'll have to see how things go moving forward because, of course, that's definitely not a stat line we're used to seeing from Brian Thomas after that electric finish to last year.
Yep, so not too much to add for me here. Jags win it. Good game for them, but Panthers really just played horrible in this one, so... we move on to a game I'm not really looking forward to talking about.
Our first differing pick.
The first differing pick. This being the Raiders taking on my New England Patriots. Of course, I have to ride with the boys in a game that I thought was pretty winnable. I don't even think this was being too unrealistic here. The Raiders do win it 20-13. Geno Smith, just a freaking awesome day for Geno Smith somehow. Yep. 362 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Drake May, Drake May had some moments in this game where he looked pretty good, but there was also some very questionable decisions, some overthrows, some misthrows. He did have 287 yards and a touchdown, which, for a Patriots quarterback, we don't see yardages that high very often the past couple of years, so It was kind of good to see, even though he wasn't his best. But for the Raiders side, Jacoby Myers, 8 receptions on 97 yards, really good. And then Brock Bowers, 5 receptions for 103 yards, unfortunately did get an injury at the end of the game. That is going to put him out for a little bit. But I think for it being kind of like a non-contact thing, you avoided the worst-case scenario here.
Yeah.
For Brock
He'll only
Bowers,
miss a couple of weeks at the worst, I think. He won't be out too long.
Yeah, which is good. On the Patriots side of things, Kayshon Boutte, great guy, great name. He led the team with 103 yards and 6 receptions. And then Stephon Diggs, the new receiver here for the Patriots, had 6 for 57, so not bad there. The running back situation in New England's interesting. Travion Henderson, he only had 5 rushing attempts for 27 yards, but he did have 6 catches for 24 yards. He was kind of a safety net for Drake May, and I think that's going to be what it's going to be for most of the year. Ramondre Stevenson, just awful. 7 attempts for 15 yards. Could not do anything on the ground against Max Crosby and the Raiders front 7 there. But it was just, really, really bad for Ramondre Stevenson.
Yep.
And then Ashton Genty, he was held in check in his first NFL game. 19 attempts, 38 yards, so only averaging 2 yards a carry, if my math is correct.
That's correct, Vinny.
And thank you. And he did get in the end zone. So overall, just to give my analysis as a Patriots fan here, very winnable game. This was just a matter of the secondary and the Patriots' pass defense being really atrocious here. Letting Geno Smith come in and throw almost 400 yards is unacceptable. Jacoby Myers was literally getting wide open on almost every single play. Like, he was just cooking us. Our safety, Jalen Hawkins, he gave up an absolute bomb play here in the first quarter. And just the defense as a whole just didn't play great. With the exception of Harold Landry, a linebacker, he played really good for us. But other than that, bad game for the Pats. We had a 3rd and 20 to keep us in the game. The Raiders had a 3rd and 20. If we stopped them, we would have got the ball back with a chance to do something and tie the game. But we gave up a 21-yard play. That just can't happen.
Can't happen. And I'll say, Vinny,
Go ahead.
I didn't want to pick against the Patriots, and I was going to pick the Patriots all week long.
It's fine.
But I was saying that Gonzo news was just too much. Right, yeah. As much as the Raiders might not be this elite passing offense, when you take out Gonzo, there's really nobody else there in that secondary for the Pats. So, you said it. Jacoby Myers had an absolute field day. And then Brock Bowers, of course, is going to do Brock Bowers things. But
yeah,
Jacoby Myers just tore this defense apart. And, they just couldn't do anything.
Yeah, it did make much more of an impact than I thought it was going to, which is unfortunate. But, we'll take this one on the chest. The Patriots have a bad game. Hopefully this is not what is going to be our reality for the whole season, but I'm still going to remain optimistic about them after this one. As for the Raiders, really promising performance for them. We don't want to leave them out here. They had a really good game, and maybe they could be more competitive. We mentioned in the previews how we think they could surprise some people this year, maybe beat some better teams, and they look really good. They're definitely much more well-coached, and just they have a solid quarterback, and
yep.
I think their offense is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling good about them. But anything to add here about this game?
No. There's just that I got the pick correct. You got it wrong. That was our first different pick
that is correct.
of the week. And, yeah, we're going to move on here to a couple NFC matchups here. First, a matchup between the Arizona Cardinals and the New Orleans Saints, a game that really was not very high up on the excitement level for wanting to watch. But it ended up being a decent game to watch. If you saw it late, it got close. Saints had a chance pretty late to tie things up, but the Cardinals get the win 20-13 here in a game where Kyler Murray, 21-29, 163 passing yards, two touchdowns. It's not a bad game for him, right? Nothing crazy yardage wise, but didn't turn it over. Threw 2 passing touchdowns. That's what you ask for from your quarterback. James Conner only had 39 rushing yards. Did pick up a receiving touchdown as well. Marvin Harrison Jr., we are expecting big things from him here in his sophomore year. He had 5 catches for 71 yards and a touchdown, so good start to the season for him. Trey McBride, of course, continuing last year. He had 6 catches for 61 yards, so a very good start for him as well. On the Saints side, Spencer Rattler threw the ball 46 times, Vinny. 46. So they were down a lot of the game, so he needed to throw it, but 27-46, 214 yards, no passing touchdowns, no interceptions was surprising, and he also did add 29 yards on the ground. Now, Alvin Kamara, right, their star player who we expected absolutely everything to go through, really didn't have that much of an impact. He did get in the end zone, but he only had 11 carries for 45 yards, that's good. When you're only on 11 carries, 45 yards is fine, and you're not expecting a ton of carries when you're losing, but the receiving work wasn't really there, Vinny. I don't know if it surprised you a little bit, but he only had 2 catches in this game. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
It's concerning because I think Spencer Rattler's trying to play hero ball a little too much, and he's just not that guy, dude. Like, he's just not that guy. So it's unfortunate. I think moving away from Kamara is not they weren't down by 40. Like, they were. No. This was a close game the whole game.
They could have kept running the ball for sure.
Like, you can run the ball. You're not in a 2-minute drill. The whole game. Like, you could use your best player. So I think If I were Kamara, I'd be pretty upset. I think if they utilized him a little bit more, they would have been more successful.
And I will say, so Rattler had 4 attempts. That's how he got to 29 yards on the ground. And then Kendrick Miller had 5 carries, and rookie Devin Neal had 2 carries. So, when you combine the other 2 running backs, there's 7 carries there from them. Kamara had 11. So they did still run the ball a little bit, but Kamara wasn't being the true, workhorse featured back that we're used to seeing from him, which could just be, a week 1 decision, but we'll see how it goes moving forward. For the passing game, like receiving-wise for the Saints, Juwan Johnson led the team here, 8 catches for 76 yards, and then Chris Olave had a pretty decent first game back from all the drama and concussions that he had last year. He had 7 catches for 54 yards. So that's good to see that he's still able to play football.
The poor guy got absolutely
he got laid out again, though. Yeah. I mean, it seems like this is all that's going to happen to him. And I'm surprised he's not in concussion protocol right now. But, glad to see that he is okay and that he was able to get back on his feet after some of those hits. I mean, he's been through the ringer during his time here with the Saints. I mean, he's just gotten absolutely destroyed.
Shout out Will Johnson, though. They're second round pick, right?
He fell to the second round because a lot of people were worried about him being hurt.
Yeah.
And now he's out here, and he's going to be a starting corner for them the entire season.
Yeah, he's going to be a stud.
I mean, that's a steal.
But yeah, Olave, stay safe out there, man. That guy's, I mean, dude, that was a hard watch. But the Saints, I mean, we're not expecting much from them this year. I think this game was way closer than it should have been. Yeah. But it was slightly entertaining. Thoughts on the Saints jerseys, by the way?
I didn't enjoy them. I didn't enjoy them very much. I thought, I mean, they weren't terrible, but it was just kind of a little like, it just seemed off to me. I don't know. It just didn't seem like it fit perfectly. I don't know.
They were a little weird, but I'm gonna make a confession. I actually kind of liked them, man. I kind of liked them. I know it's a hot take, but
Vinny's a big jersey guy, so it makes sense.
Huge jersey guy, but yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed them, but. Yeah, not much to take away from this game. Cardinals, they're mid. Saints are bad.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So we both took the Saints there, and we're going to move on to...
Cardinals.
Oh, sorry. Both took the Cardinals. I apologize. We move on to a game between 2 NFC East teams here, the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders. Now, Vinny and I were adamant, do not pick the Giants in this game. The Giants are not good. They're not going to win. They're going to look terrible on offense. And we were right. Like, we were spot on, right? Commanders win this one 21-6. Jaden Daniels, 19 of 30, 233 yards and a touchdown. Also added 68 rushing yards. JCM, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, all right, also known as Bill. He had 10 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown. This is a guy who came out, and he was the best running back on this team. Austin Eckler had more carries, had 11 total carries, but a lot of his work came early in the game and then later on third down, so he had more of the passing work. But I would not be surprised at all if JCM turns into the early down running back, first and second down, true runner, and then Eckler comes in for third down. That's kind of the split that I would be expecting. But yeah, so good day for the rookie. Deebo Samuel, I mean, he had a fantastic day. 7 catches for 77 yards. He had a rushing touchdown as well. So Deebo Samuel doing it all, had a couple carries in this game. Zach Ertz had a touchdown, and then Terry McLaurin, really not much to talk about. Only 2 catches in this game, which is, very underwhelming for him. But at the end of the day, you hope you bounce back. You were in a game that was very favorable for you. You didn't really have to throw the ball a ton. I will say, this game was close. It was 14-6 in the fourth quarter. That's largely in part due to the Giants' defense keeping them in it. But when you look at the Giants' offense, Russell Wilson, 17 of 37, just terrible day, 168 passing yards. Didn't turn it over. All right, so that's a positive. Also had 44 rushing yards. So, he was over 200 yards total on the day, but
yeah,
just not what you want from him. Tyrone Tracy, only 24 rushing yards. Malik Neighbors, 5 catches for 71 yards. Did dominate targets, though. He was over 10 targets, which we came to expect. And then Wan'Dale Robinson had 6 catches for 55 yards. So Wan'Dale had more catches than Malik Neighbors in this game. A lot of people coming out and saying, Russell Wilson shouldn't be playing moving forward. I have some hesitation with that. I still think he gives you the best chance to win now. I do think he's still a better quarterback than Jackson Dart at this moment in time. I understand if you were, 0-5, make a move, but it was one game. It looked bad, yes, but at the end of the day, the game was close. I think you give Russ at least one more shot, 2 more shots, and then you might pull the plug there. But Vinny, what are your thoughts on this Giants football team after a very rough Week 1 game?
They're incompetent. Their offense is incompetent. That's my word of the day. It means bad, unable to perform.
Got a definition?
Yeah, just just bad, man. I mean, and it shouldn't come to a surprise to anyone. Russell Wilson, he's just not great anymore. I mean,
No,
and then
he's
surround him with not a great team. I mean, with the exception of Malik Neighbors, who didn't even play that good. This is what's going to happen. And then as for the Giants defense, who is supposed to be like insane, they didn't have a bad game, but I was expecting more. We were laughing last night at this clip of Abdul Carter, in pursuit of Jaden Daniels. Really didn't look like he was putting in 100% effort. Shout out that guy, that Giants fan that reacted to that clip. He was a really funny guy. Probably my favorite Giants fan, actually.
Okay.
So, yeah, this was predictable. If any Giants fans were optimistic that you'd win this game, you're delusional. Let's move
That's
on.
all that needs to be said. Let's move on. Let's move on.
We both take the Commanders, obviously. We move on to the 4 o'clock window, a game with some interesting storylines here. The Tennessee Titans and the Denver Broncos. The Broncos was our lock of the week here at VinConn Sports Talk. It was both of our survivor pool picks, and the Broncos did win, but it was not easy by any means. They win 20-12. Bo Nix going into his second year, really just not a great day to start his sophomore campaign. 176 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. But you know who was worse? That'd be Cam Ward. The number 1 overall pick in this past year's draft. He went 12 for 28 with 112 yards. And, I mean, we all saw this coming, playing against the best secondary in the NFL.
Terrible matchup for him.
Really bad day. Just the leading receiver for the Titans was Tony Pollard with 29 yards.
And that was on like one play early in the game.
Yeah. Just really not great stuff. But, I mean, like I said, this was not very difficult to predict that this would happen. For the Broncos, the running backs were kind of a big storyline here. R.J. Harvey, very good game, 6 attempts for 70 yards, but J.K. Dobbins did lead the backfield with 16 attempts, 63 yards and a touchdown. So 2 good games from the 2 running backs there. Kind of going to be interesting to see if that split changes a little bit as the season goes on. Mm-hmm. And then Courtland Sutton did have a good game in the midst of a bad game for the Broncos offense in general. He had 6 receptions, 61 yards and a touchdown, so picking up right where he left off. Connor, I don't think anything in this game surprised either of us. Thought the Broncos would be a little better on offense, but again, they're facing a good team, a good defense in the Titans too. So not a lot of points here, some turnovers, just not a lot in terms of offense. They couldn't move the ball, but the Broncos do get it done, which is what they should have done. So
yeah, I mean, watching this game, right, the Broncos defense, this is what you were expecting. You knew they were going to absolutely smother this rookie quarterback. He was going to struggle the entire game. That's exactly what happened. Now, to your point, the Titans had a very good defense. I still expected the Broncos to look better. I mean, Bo Nix, the 2 interceptions were pretty bad. It wasn't like it was like a good play by the defense. It was just kind of some bad throws. So that's a little concerning for me, but I'm still confident in this Broncos team. I think they have all the potential in the world to go and make a run in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
The very good season ahead of them. They just need to get things figured out on offense and make sure they don't throw 2 interceptions every game.
Yeah, and shout out Sean Payton, by the way. In a post-game interview I saw, there was a reporter that asked Sean Payton, like, oh, how does Bo Nix compare today than how he looked in his rookie year? And Sean Payton was like, I'm not going to be answering that question this year.
Like the growth meter, I think it was about.
The growth meter. He's like, we're not doing a growth meter. I know we like our meters here, but Sean Payton doesn't like meters. So I think that was a good answer to back up his quarterback. They got the win, so a win is a win. If Bo Nix didn't look great, you still got the win. So
we won't be having Sean Payton on here because he doesn't like the meters, so he wouldn't want to come on.
As far as our list of celebrities that we're going to have on the show, Sean Payton is right at the bottom.
Yeah, so. He would come on though if it wasn't for the meters. So
right, we just want to put that out there. But anyway, Connor, the last 3 games here, they're all yours. So we're going to call you the closer here, or roll this Chapman, because they're 3 NFC games. So why don't you take us to the first one?
Yeah, let's start with a good one. In the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks in a game that was close the entire way. You could not take your eyes off the screen, right? There was always something going on. 49ers get the job done, though, late. 17-13 victory. Brock Purdy, 26 of 35, 277 yards, 2 touchdowns. That sounds very good, but then he threw 2 interceptions as well. So that's where it kind of, balances it out a little bit. Not the best game from him overall. CMC, 22 carries for 69 yards, and then 9 catches for 73 yards. So CMC is back. He's doing things that we know he can do. We've seen it in the past. It was just the calf injury. It was a question mark. Is he going to be 100%? And he looked 100%, and he didn't come out with any limping, any cramping, anything like that. So he seems to be good to go. Obviously, the calf can be something that's going to linger throughout the year, but hopefully after a performance like this, things are pointing in the right direction and he should be good to go. Receivers, Ricky Pearsall, 4 catches, 108 yards. Juwan Jennings picks up an injury, okay, and George Kittle picks up an injury. So George Kittle's definitely out 4 weeks. They placed him on the IR. He has a hamstring injury. He's done for at least 4 weeks. Juwan Jennings, I believe it's a shoulder injury. No further reports on that yet as to a timetable for him. But if he can't go next week either, it's really going to be Ricky Pearsall and CMC as the only 2 guys in that offense. And, Vinny, you mentioned to me earlier, Mac Jones might be starting this game because Brock Purdy's dealing with an injury as well. So early on, okay, the San Francisco 49ers team is hit with the injury bug once again.
Yep. It's gonna be
and they just can't seem to avoid it. Their players just keep finding ways to get hurt, picking up little nagging injuries early on in the year, and it's going to cost them. If Brock Purdy can't be out there, it's going to be a rough spot for him. So hopefully Purdy's good to go, and he at least will have Pearsall and CMC to work with. But outside of that, I mean, we mentioned it on the preview. It's going to be Sky Moore, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. It's not the best options there in San Francisco. But shout out to I'm forgetting his name. The tight end that came in for George Kittle, Jake Tonges, I think it was.
Tonges.
I don't know how to say his name. Tonges.
Yep.
He made the play of the game. It was a late game touchdown score. He went up, grabbed the ball basically out of the Seattle's corner's hands, and was able to give the 49ers the lead there late in the game. So shout out to him. He's likely going to be the guy with Kittle out being out for 4 weeks. So hopefully that kind of gives Purdy at least something there at tight end, but obviously that could have been a one-off game. We're not sure, but still, shout out to that guy. For the Seahawks, all right, only score 13 points in this game. Sam Darnold, 16 of 23, 150 yards. So definitely not what we saw from him last year in Minnesota. Didn't turn the ball over, which is good, but outside of that, didn't really do too much. Zach Charbonnet, he has 12 carries, okay? 2 more than Kenneth Walker got. Kenneth Walker only had 10. Zach Charbonnet went for 47 yards and a touchdown. Kenneth Walker only went for 20 yards. So this was probably the biggest shocker of the game when you're talking about it from a fantasy perspective, because, I mean, Kenneth Walker was supposed to be the guy, right? I mean, he's the RB1 on this team. Charbonnet's been very good as a backup when Kenneth Walker gets hurt, but we've never seen Charbonnet out-snap Kenneth Walker when they're both 100%.
Yeah.
And he had more carries in this game here today, so maybe that's something we have to watch out for going forward. As for the receiver, it was the JSN show.
The receiver.
Okay,
That's it.
It was literally only Jackson Smith-Njigba. He had 9 catches, so he had 9 of the 16 passes from Sam Darnold. He had 124 of the 150 total yards.
Yeah.
I mean, he did absolutely everything. Cooper Kupp had 2 catches, and nobody else had more than 1. Yeah. So I think there were only 5 guys on that sheet for receivers. So really, it was JSN or bust. And maybe that's great for fantasy managers, but trying to win a game, it might not be the best option moving forward, especially when guys say, okay, here, we're going to put 2 corners on JSN. Now figure out how to move the ball. And so we're going to have to see. But biggest takeaway, CMC looked healthy, right? That was important. And the 49ers get off to a good start here in a season where there was a little more potential and hope and excitement around the team this year because we were getting CMC back and we seem to be a little more healthy. Obviously, Ayuk won't return till later, but you had CMC back, right? And now, there goes Kittle. There goes possibly Juwan Jennings, possibly Brock Purdy. And now you get the win, but I think there's a lot more bad that came out of this game than good.
Yeah, definitely not feeling great about the Niners. Love CMC though, and he had a great game here. I'm concerned about the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, 100. I can't do percentages. It's like 85% of the yards going to one receiver is not great. I can do this math though. Kenneth Walker 10 for 20. That is definitely 2 yards per carry. I know that for sure.
Did that multiple times on this episode. A lot of
I know,
bad
right?
backs.
What are the odds of that? So this game was chaos. It was actually it was a fun game to watch despite it being ugly. The 49ers special teams unit was all over the place too. In this one,
they just released Jake Moody.
Yeah, Jake Moody had a bad year last year,
yeah,
and a bad game yesterday. So it was probably his time to go there. But I really don't have any major takeaways from either side because it was such a chaotic, ugly game. But I think the Seahawks weren't too high on them. They might be in trouble. I think the Niners might be in trouble too if the injuries continue. But that's all I got to say about that one. It was fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, good game there. At least it had a fun ending. But we're going to move on to the Houston Texans and the LA Rams, a game that was very hard to watch. Not a lot happened. It was very low scoring and just not a lot of explosiveness from anyone. The Rams got the win 14-9. So when the Texans put up 9 points, that kind of tells you all you need to know. Of course, right, we knew going in these were two elite defenses. So we kind of expected a little bit low scoring, but I mean, there was just nothing happening here. Matthew Stafford, 21 of 29, 245 yards and a touchdown. Not a bad day for him at all. Kyron Williams, 18 carries for 66 yards, and of course he found the end zone because that's what he does. Puka Nacua, right? He had 10 catches for 130 yards, and he went out of the game for a little bit because he got his right above his right eyebrow got cut. He was bleeding. So he was out for a little while, and he's still out. Got way more targets than anybody else, way more catches than anybody else. So he was the guy. Devontae Adams was next up, but only had 4 catches for 51 yards. For the Texans, C.J. Stroud, 19-27, 188 yards and 1 interception. And then Nick Chubb, right? We talked about this guy going in. What was he going to have left? Was there going to be any juice? He had 13 carries for 60 yards, a little juice. It was enough to, get the Texans a couple yards here and there.
Yeah, a couple, yeah.
Nothing crazy, no touchdowns for him, of course, but, he was serviceable. Better than some of the other running backs we saw this week, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Jaden Higgins, all right, the rookie wide receiver leads the team in the receiving game with 2 catches for 32 yards. Nico Collins, man.
Nowhere to be found.
No
show.
So that's unfortunate for the Texans, and especially you fantasy managers. Definitely expected more from him. I think he only had 2 catches in this game, if I'm correct. Outside of this, though, 9 total punts in this football game, right? Mm-hmm. That goes to show the strength of the defense. I mean, they just reigned supreme here in this game, and there really wasn't. You couldn't turn this game on and be like, ooh, like I'm gonna go watch like a crazy offensive drive here, and it's just gonna be a high shootout. Like it was defenses from the start, and we kind of knew that, but definitely not as exciting as I was hoping for two teams that have pretty positive outlooks on their season. I mean, Rams, we expect to be pretty good if Stafford stays healthy, and the Texans, we're expecting them to try and bounce back to form from 2 years ago, which would also be pretty good. So definitely not the start either of these teams wanted, but of course the Rams are coming out just a little bit happier with a victory.
Yeah, the Texans are weird because they were in the playoffs last year. They won a playoff game. We still look at them like they had this horrible year last year, and it just never felt right with them last year at any point, even though they made that run. But it still doesn't. I mean, the Texans looked awful in this game. They looked just how they have looked all of last year offensively. And, I mean, the Rams did just enough to get the job done. They didn't look great either. But, I mean, Matt Stafford did. I mean, they actually didn't look bad, I will say. They just couldn't complete drives. They couldn't finish drives. But they did look a lot better than the Texans. We both did take the Rams in this one. We both get it right. So, really, a tough watch. Really just defensive battle. Nothing really happened of too notable here. What was definitely a way more interesting watch was last night's Monday night game. So why don't you tell us about
We're heading over to prime time on Monday night in a game that started out so terrible. Okay, we were watching this game in the first half. Absolute snooze fest. I did not want to watch the second half. It was just so boring. And somehow, some way, the second half, especially the fourth quarter, became ridiculous. All right, this was
ridiculous.
The Bears were up. They were up 17-6.
17-6, yeah.
Was it? Did they get to 24-6 or was it 17-6?
No, it was 17-12.
That's what it was. 17-12, then 24. No. Okay, never mind. 17-12. So started 17-6. Then the Vikings got a touchdown. 17-12. Went for 2. Did not get it.
Yeah.
And then there was a bunch of chaos. The Vikings get the ball back. They score again. Right, and the Vikings went up 20-17.
Yeah, and
then they got it back again.
And then they
scored again. It was 27-17.
And the
Bears scored a touchdown. Yeah, so 27-24, the Vikings win this game. It was pretty crazy at the end. I mean, all the way through the first 3 quarters, it was like, okay, Bears are going to win. Vikings look absolutely terrible. Not to say the Bears looked much better, especially on offense, but the Vikings offensively could not get it going in that first half. But in total, J.J. McCarthy finishes 13 of 20, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, and also 25 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown, which was pretty exciting there towards the end of the game. Got his team fired up. Jordan Mason, Okay, he has 15 carries in this game for 68 yards, had the most carries of any Minnesota running back. Aaron Jones, he only had 23 rushing yards, but he was kind of the receiving back for sure, had 44 receiving yards and a touchdown. Outside of that, right, the pass game for the Vikings really wasn't anything special. It was Justin Jefferson, and that was basically it, and that only happened because of the late game surge by the Vikings. Justin Jefferson, 4 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Caleb Williams for the Chicago Bears, he had a great first drive, Vinny. I mean, went right down the field and scored, right? And things were like, oh my gosh, like I know you were excited because you picked the Bears in this one, and you were like, the Bears are here, right? The Bears are here to play. Caleb Williams looked fantastic on that first drive, and then everything just fell apart. Crumbled. And it wasn't that he played terrible. I mean, you look at the stats, 21 to 35, that's not ideal, but 210 yards, a touchdown, 58 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown. He was impossible to sack. The Vikings could not get him down. Every single time they thought they had him wrapped up, he would make a spin move, and he would somehow run for 15 yards. It was ridiculous, but it was pretty exciting to watch, Vinny, I won't lie. DeAndre Swift, 17 carries for 53 yards. He was another player who kind of got better as the game went on, really had nothing in the first half. And then Rome Odunze, 6 catches, 37 yards, and a receiving touchdown for him. He was kind of the main guy there for the Bears' pass attack. DJ Moore did a little bit, but nothing crazy there. Did not find the end zone. Had some rushing attempts where he lined up in the backfield, so that's always fun to see. But from a true receiving standpoint, didn't make as much of an impact as you would have hoped. But Vinny.
Yeah.
I know you have a lot of thoughts on this game because you were very happy with how the Bears looked to start the game. And I was worried because the Vikings looked terrible. And, you know, for me picking the Vikings, it was because I trusted that J.J. McCarthy would come out and look decent, and I trusted the Vikings defense.
Right.
Vikings defense was fine. After that first touchdown, they locked in to not allow anything to the Chicago Bears. But J.J. McCarthy came out and looked horrible. I mean, the first 2 drives, they had to punt on 3 and outs. They couldn't get the ball off before the clock hit 0 on the play clock. I mean, Soldier Field was rocking. And that helped out big time. And then all of a sudden, something happened, and the Vikings found it. They flicked the switch. They found something, and they just took off, and they did not look back. So, Vinny, what are your thoughts on this Monday Night Football game?
First of all, J.J. McCarthy looking as bad as he did, I don't think that should come as a surprise to anyone because the guy hasn't played a meaningful football game in almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So I was expecting a slow start from J.J. there. The Bears, this was the quickest sway in a football game I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, I've never seen a team go from in such command of a football game to collapsing so quick. It was just like, and it wasn't even due to any turnovers or anything. It was just 3 and out, can't move the football, Vikings score right away. Same thing, 3 and out, Vikings score right away. It was astonishing. It was crazy. I mean, Bears fans were booking their ticket to the Super Bowl after that first drive. They were looking for flights to San Francisco in February. They were. And listen, I for those of you who don't know, I have a soft spot for the Bears. Okay,
it's kind of like his team.
It's kind of a joke at this. It's kind of a joke, but like joking about it so much kind of made me actually want to like them and root for them. So I was rooting for them. It was upsetting, dude. This was upsetting because it's like, yeah, the Bears. I don't expect them to be good. I don't expect them to be a playoff team this year. But they could have their moment. They have their week 1 primetime game at home. The fans were buzzing. The place was crazy. Let the Bears fans have their moment, man. Yeah. Like, really. And then they get booed off the field. Like, they just get booed off the field so much.
Dude, how do you have a pick 6 to go up 17-6 and you lose the game?
A pick 6 in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Like, the shift in momentum was crazy. It was so quick. And as for Ben Johnson, the new head coach of the Bears, you obviously had much better weapons to work with in Detroit as the offensive coordinator of the Lions. I'm not going to act like that he didn't, but Ben Johnson was such a unique offensive mind in Detroit that just made things happen, just doing things that no one's ever seen, and that's why the Lions were so good. Part of the reason why they were so good last year. I saw none of that in Chicago last night. It was just there was no creativity, and you know how mad I got. It's 3rd and 19. The Vikings are coming back. The momentum's clearly shifting. I get trying to play it safe and not, get sacked on 3rd and 19 or turn the ball over. But like a screen on 3rd and 19, you're not even going to try.
And it almost got picked off.
And it almost got picked off.
Van Ginkel always seems to be there.
Always there. Like, you're not, like, why are you not even trying? Because if you somehow convert that 3rd and 19, they could very easily have won the game.
I mean, you talk about it with the Raiders and the Patriots. Raiders had a 3rd and 20, and
exactly.
they convert.
That's just not what Ben Johnson has done in the past. Like, it was very upsetting. And the Bears they don't have a bad offense. I will stand by this. Like, they're like DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, like, they're good receivers. Like, you have 2 good tight ends too, I feel like we're barely involved. Like, it was just ugly. It was hard to watch. It was upsetting. I was almost crying. Like, I was getting emotional.
Vinny was
so
near
bad.
tears.
I just felt so bad, man, for the Bears fans. They just deserve so much better.
But you know what? We talk about the Bears choking this game away so much. But you gotta show some love to the Vikings and the fight that they had. I mean, especially JJ McCarthy. The way you start that game, Justin Jefferson is definitely in his head thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna be a long year," right? In that first half, and the guys stick with him. Aaron Jones gives him a fist bump at halftime. Like, they're trying to keep morale up, keep JJ McCarthy going. I mean, he's a captain for a reason. Like, he's a guy there that they trust, they believe in him, and he comes out and towards the end of that 3rd quarter, start of the 4th quarter, he just flips a switch and he puts that team into a much better spot. They get a win. And, even seeing some of the stuff after the game in the locker room, Kevin O'Connell, head coach, just showing him a bunch of love. I mean, it's not easy to start a game like that and be completely out of it and down and find a way to turn things around and claw your way back in such a dramatic fashion like that. Yeah,
and
very tough. I mean,
first drive, they were in shambles. They couldn't, the first drive, the Bears fans were so loud they could barely even snap the football.
Yep.
So, I mean, props to the Vikings. I'll give them, their respect for coming back and showing a lot of fight and winning this football game. As for the Bears, like, you're dead to me. So
I will say, for the Minnesota Vikings, I think you'll agree with this, Vinny. Like, you're not going to be able to get away with playing terribly in the first half and only playing good in the 4th quarter and winning a game. It's just because the Bears are that bad.
Yep. I agree.
No other team you play this year is going to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
And so the Vikings, like, you need to put together 4 very good quarters if you're going to want a chance at winning a lot of games this year. I'm still not confident you're going to be a playoff team this year. I mean, I still think under 500 is more likely. Mm-hmm. But if J.J. McCarthy can get going, if he can get hot, man, and continue some of this momentum he had at the end of the game, anything's possible. But very tough schedule we're going to have to see.
Yeah, so that is week 1. We have made it through all of the games. Again, like we mentioned, a lot of underwhelming games, a lot of underwhelming performances by individual players in week 1. But there were a few, obviously, standouts: Bills and Ravens, Jets, Steelers, to name a few, Bucs, Falcons. So just glad football is back. It was fun to finally be able to sit on the couch on a Sunday and watch football all day long. And the great thing is you just have to wait 2 more days, and we're back at it on Thursday night. But Connor, we have one more segment before we sign off today. Before our week one preview episode, rather, we did our fantasy starts and sits for week 1. So we're going to tell you how we did there. Connor's not looking forward to this.
I did terrible.
For me, I told you guys to start Jerome Ford and Jacoby Myers. Jerome Ford did terrible. And he is probably not looking good for the outlook of his season. Got, out-carried by double by Dylan Sampson. So he did bad for you. I started him. He did horrible for me. But Jacoby Myers against the Patriots had a really good game. So if he was a guy who you were considering starting, hopefully you listened to me and put him in the lineup, because he had a really good performance against the Christian Gonzalez-less Patriots secondary. Yep. And then as for my sits, I told you to sit Calvin Ridley versus the Broncos. That ended up being a pretty good decision. He only got 6.7, only 4 catches on 27 yards, which, I mean, even 4 catches is more than I was expecting him to get in this game. So that was a good sit there. And then Colston Loveland, 3.2. I mean, if you drafted him, you probably, I don't know. If you drafted him, you probably were taking a flyer in a very late round. Hopefully not having to start him, but if you did and you were relying on him, I apologize, because he did not do anything.
Yeah, so for me here, I had a very good week picking who won the games.
Yeah.
But when it comes to my starts and sits, let's just say it was rough. I told you to start Jalen Waddle. I started Jalen Waddle in my fantasy league. I had big hopes for him in this game against the Colts. I thought the Dolphins were going to, look like a somewhat competent offense, and they did not. Jalen Waddle finished with 4 catches for 30 yards, 7 fantasy points in a full PPR league. Another guy I told you to start, which this is the only one that sort of panned out. Ricky Pearsall. I told you to start him. He ended up with 14.8 points. He outscored his projection. He had 4 catches for 108 yards. So good day for him, right? And he should be able to continue that, especially with Kittle going out and Juwan Jennings possibly being out. So look for him to be in your starting lineups as we go forward. But as for my sits, 2 picks that really did not work out too well. Okay, Cortland Sutton, I benched him in my league. I thought going up against this Titans team would be rough, and especially the Jarius Sneed, I thought he would shadow him. And you know what? Overall, the Broncos offense did not do very well. It was just that Cortland Sutton, of course, he's the only guy there, so he does get that 1 touchdown from Bo Nix, and that kind of sways his fantasy week to a pretty good game. He had 18.1 fantasy points, 6 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. So that's kind of a miss by me. And then my other sit, I thought the Vikings defense was going to smother Caleb Williams a little more than they did. Of course, they did it a pretty good amount, but Caleb Williams decided he was going to turn into Superman and evade absolutely everything and scramble for 58 yards. He finished with, I think it was 20-something points, 22 points. The rushing touchdown, of course, helped him. And then he had 24.2 points, 210 yards, 2 total touchdowns.
Yeah,
so
it's not a bad day. Somehow.
For me, it was a bad day, but Caleb Williams had a great day from a fantasy perspective. So apparently don't listen to me for fantasy start and sits, only listen to me for who I pick for games.
Yeah. So, Connor, congratulations for winning week 1, not only between me and you, between everyone who joined the VinConn Pick'ems. You dominated week 1 with a 14-2 record. Assuming someone else will win a week at some point, it's not just going to be me or you. You will get a shout out. And we are even maybe considering having some guests on to pick games, kind of like a college game day style guest pick 'em for especially those of you who are in the pick 'em league. So if there is interest for that, let us know, because we could maybe try to make an arrangement there. I think that would be fun. But anyway, Connor, week 1 is in the books. We move on to week 2, and we have a long season ahead of it. So I'm excited to keep talking about it with you and keep producing content. It was fun.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it. Week 2 should be hopefully a little bit better. Only 44 touchdowns, right, on Red Zone this week, so a very low number.
Yeah. Let's get that up next week for my boy Scott Hansen. He already has to deal with the commercials and all that. Scott Hansen needs to call some more touchdowns,
Yeah, man.
But free the guy, dude. But anyway, that is going to wrap up episode 55. If you're still with us, thank you for listening to the show today. Again, follow us on TikTok and Instagram for some content on there. And if you hit the subscribe button on YouTube and Spotify if you enjoyed the episode. So for my partner Connor and I, that is going to wrap it up. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next time.